Shadow and Bone was written by Leigh Bardugo and was first published in 2012. But I didn't read it until 10 years later because teenage me didn't do anything except watch PewDiePie or read anything except The Hunger Games. But now that we're here, this is my review of Shadow and Bone. Alina Starkov is an unattractive, weak, unintelligent girl that the boy of her dreams, Mal, could never possibly fall for. At least, that's what she thinks. Alina lives in a dystopian country called Ravka, at war with countries to the north and south of their border. She works as a map maker in the First Army. Oh, and there's also a second army made up of magic folk, known as Grisha, who the regular folk consider to be a bunch of stuck-up bitches. Oh, and also, there's this massive black swirling abyss called the Fold, also called the Unsea, that was created by the Black Heretics centuries ago, which stretches the length of the country, and crossing it means almost certain death because of these creepy winged creatures called the Volcra. But they keep sending people across in sand skiffs to West Ravka because apparently it's super vital to risk the lives of countless soldiers to bring back wheat and grains. When Alina discovers her own Grisha powers by accident, her world changes and she becomes the greatest hope and most wanted teenager in the whole of Ravka because of her powers, and they could help destroy the Fold. It's not the typical chosen one plotline, but the next best thing. The teenage girl that is unaware that she's the only one that can save the world. Alina starts as an outsider, and then she is taken from her regular life and thrown into a new one. Her new life is not where she finds a new sense of belonging, but where people literally worship and envy her. There are some over-exaggerated bitches that come along who are all jealous of Alina's newfound power and attention she is getting. This creates some great internal conflict for Alina as she fights her own fears of not being good enough, as well as the external issues brought on by others. Get ready for a love triangle. Alina has to choose between holding on to her feelings for her childhood best friend Mal, who is the sweetest guy, the attractive guy who all the girls want, but still has time to sweep Alina's hair behind her ears and laugh at everything she says. Or give that all up for the Darkling, the mysterious, brooding, powerful stranger who swoops around like a defense against the dark arts teacher. The Darkling becomes the perfect villain, and we learn more about who he really is and his intentions with Alina. Alina doesn't sleep for almost the entire novel because she's up all night thinking about these boys. We've all been there, but just try to get some sleep. They're not worth the trouble. And if you do give yourself a break, you might learn how to summon your sunshine hands. Teen dystopian novels do have tropes, and this one is no different, but that's why I liked it. It has a level of predictability and comfort that you might get from eating your favourite ice cream or watching your favourite childhood movie. This book gives you just the right amount of world building and chapter by chapter detail to be able to understand what's happening and follow the lore and magic system of the world without moving so slowly that you want to rip out your eyeballs. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones. There are some really unexpected plot points, most notably at the midpoint and later on, where Alina's world seems to flip repeatedly as she tries to figure out the right thing to do and who to believe. I was fully there with her as she tries to decide what to do because she has to pull back and jarringly reassess what she wants. I almost wanted her to make the wrong choices because of how high the stakes are. The main themes in Shadow and Bones are lessons for Alina to learn, and she learns not to be afraid of being who she is, and the right people will love you for who you are, not what you can give them. These are important lessons for teenagers to learn, and I'm glad these themes are still everywhere, and even more these days, because one day the teenagers reading it might grow up to believe it. I give it 4 stars out of 5. I believe it can be read at any age, but be aware that it is very teenagery in terms of attitudes and mindsets of some of the characters, but they are teenagers. It's fast-paced and kept me turning the pages, and it was an easy read that kept me engaged enough to read it in only a few days. So give it a go yourself. Thanks for watching.